G'day everybody, welcome back to the channel. Okay, so today is technically my second birthday here on the channel. So An Aussie Audiophile has been running for 2 years from today. This was day one 2 years ago that I actually was doing my first test recordings and setting up my channel. So what we do on my birthday is we go through and do a system update and a room walkthrough, and we talk about everything that's happened here in the room, all the new equipment that I've bought and kept and have in the system now since the last time we spoke about this, which was a year ago. So I guess this is our third system walkthrough, because I did an original one when I started, was one of my first videos. Then we did one a year ago, and now we're doing the third one. So what I'll do is I will spin the camera around and I will walk you through everything that's in the system. So rather than just picking on the new components, we're going to walk through the whole process, the whole system from start to finish here. We'll talk then about cables after that, and then after that we'll go into talking about room acoustics and the changes and the tweaks I've made over the last 12 months, because there have been some, to get the system exactly where, I have it these days. Some of the people that have actually been in this room in the last 12 months, people like Charles Kermis, some good friends of mine who hear my system and hear the upgrading that's been going on in my system over the period that I've been doing this channel, all come and say one thing to me after they've listened in my system. Because this is not a huge room at all. It's an average size room for a normal house of this age. So I don't have a purpose-built room as such, but I have modified this room so that I'm getting the ultimate in sound quality, spatial awareness, in soundstage depth, width, height, all the things that we look for as audiophiles in our system. So that takes a lot of work. It doesn't happen quickly, and sometimes you've got to tweak things and move things because you don't know if you're going to move forward until you move backwards. And in some instances over the past 12 months, I've made some steps thinking maybe I can improve something by, thinking about a different approach, only to find that it didn't actually get better. It really didn't get any worse, but there was a couple of occasions where things got audibly worse in the room. So things went back to the way they were. But just everything to do with subwoofer placement, with where diffusion is placed in this room, where absorption is placed in this room, and where the bass trapping is placed and why it's placed the way it is, and what that's achieved in this room. Now I have a window that I sit just over here directly in front of. There's a reason why I have acoustic curtains, quite heavy acoustic curtains. So when I'm doing critical listening, I will shut those curtains in behind the seated position. But generally speaking, and most of the time, and when you guys hear my system, you're hearing with the natural light coming in, unless it's at night time when I'm recording, and you're hearing the room as it is. But there is an audible difference when I close the curtains in this room. And so to set a reference around listening to equipment, I close the curtains every time I'm in this room and I'm critically listening to put a review together for you guys to talk to you about my findings on any particular product that comes in here. You can be assured that I have the acoustic curtains closed, and I'm not getting any of those reflections off the glass that's behind the netting, behind the seated position. So we'll go through all of that in this video. We'll walk you right the way around the room and show you everything that's currently in here and why it's the way it is, how it's set up, and what that achieves in the room. A few of you have asked about the television that I have over here, and I have a very, very big, well, I say very, very big, it's probably not very big these days, but an 85-inch TV sitting on the bureau behind the system. I've treated that television with an acoustic cover that goes over the television, and I've put diffusion, foam diffusion, pinned that foam diffusion in a scatter pattern on the television screen surface, if you like, on the material that I've draped over the television. And there's a gap behind the TV of about a foot, thereabouts, between the television and the front wall. And that made a huge difference. Actually moving the television forward and back on the entertainment unit behind the rack, and we were hearing differences in the room. So there was a sense of trapping any spurious reflections that were happening between the speakers behind that area. And with the acoustic curtain being draped over the very back of the television as well, there is some damping going on there, which worked quite favourably for getting wonderful image depth in this room, given that I'm not that far away from the speakers. I guess it's the sound engineer in me. In a lot of ways, I'm just outside of near field in this room, and I'm on the long wall as well, where the system is set up, and sitting, literally on the opposite long wall. And I'm around about 3 meters or 9 feet from the front baffle surface to where my ears would be on the couch in the seated position here. So that gives you some idea of scale. As we walk around the room, you'll see that when I'm walking through and showing you things in the room. Yeah, look, it does defy its size, and a lot of that is room setup, acoustic treatment, and system setup. So we'll walk through all of that. I will do another video as well, talking to you guys further about my understandings and what I perceive to be important areas around acoustic treatment in your room. And while one size doesn't fit all in this situation, it really is a bit of a bespoke arrangement, in relation to all the parameters around a room size, the system that's in the room, where that's located. I work individually with clients to set their rooms up, and do offer that service. And you can reach out to me if you want me to help you individually in any way like that. But I can certainly talk to you about some key factors, some basic things that generally, and I will use the word generally, emphasis on that, generally make quite a substantial difference in getting that base foundation of room acoustics correct. And then it's fine-tuning, often fine-tuning, or it's knowing exactly what I see in a room, and very quickly I can, after I have a listen in a room or after I sight a room, I can work out what we need to do next to fix those problem areas. But we'll talk about what I've done in here and how this room defies its size, and how the walls just seem to lay away, and the roof doesn't seem to be there, and the floor seems to disappear, and the presentation in this room is vast, and really is just, you've always got to open your eyes and you just shake your head like many people do, and they just can't believe what they're hearing. But anyway, let's spin the camera around. Let's get in and talk about what's in this room. Okay, so from the seated position, which is how I am right at the moment, so this is essentially what I'm looking at, more or less. I'm at 0.6 here on the camera, so that we can fit the sort of the main bulk of the system in the shot. So this is essentially what I see, and I'll just point you through things. So obviously you know about my green monsters. These are the Wilson Alexia Series 1 speakers. Now they have the current, let me get there, they have the current V-spec tweeted diaphragm in the tweeter. They also have, and we'll go around the back of them in a second and have a look at that, they also have V-series binding posts on them, both the double set of binding posts at the top of the speaker, where the mid-range and tweeter component is, and V-series lower binding posts as well. They have upgraded resistors in the back of them, Visray resistors, both on the mid-range and the tweeter. So I've done some substantial improvement there, and that was a lovely upgrade. Also, in the bottom of the speakers, I have Stack Audio Orville 100s. So you can watch some of my videos on the Stack Audio components and just what the Orville 100s did to my Wilsons, which was quite amazing, to say the least. So let's hop up and we'll wander around the back of one of these and we'll have a look. So as you can see, and it's difficult with the light the way it is, but there is the V series binding posts on the upper plate, and if we wander down here to the bottom, you can see the V series binding posts on the lower plate. Now, let's, while we're here, talk a little bit about the grounding boxes that I'm using, and these are the Kojo Crystal E grounding boxes from Kojo Technologies, and what happens is that wire literally runs down there, as you can see it, and it goes into the positive binding post on the lower speaker. So I have two sets of speaker cables currently coming out of my Vitus amplifiers. At the moment, I'm plugged into the transparent Series 1 reference cables. So they are what are in the coming out of the amplifier, and you can see over there, very carefully separated, of course, is the Robinson Elite Series speaker cables. Now, if we have a look, let's wander around here. The next thing we should be talking about, I guess, are my amplifiers. So the amplifiers are the Vitus SM101 series. I think these are probably the best Vitus amplifiers I've ever heard, and I've heard all of the current spec amplifiers and everything in between as well. And I just love what Vitus did with the SM101. I think it really was their sweet spot as far as power amplifiers go. So if we can, this is going to be difficult here, but what I might do is I might come back around the other side of the speaker here and see if we can sneak in behind here and have a look. Hopefully you guys can see that on the binding posts closest to the, let's see if I can zoom in a little bit there. The binding post closest to the outside of the amplifier, I have the transparent cable. And then on the other set of binding posts on these monoblock amplifiers, I have the Robinson Elite. And these are 1.3 meter speaker cables, so then they are not very long at all. And I've literally just got current running through them to basically burn them in. And from time to time, I swap over from the transparent cable to these cables and judge the differences in what's happening with the speaker cable as it evolves. So obviously that's the power amplifiers that are driving the Alexia's loudspeakers. So let's move over here and we can talk about the Kuzma Star turntable that I have. And on that turntable now is the Stein Music, the Perfect Interface carbon mat. Now that is a very, very, very nice mat. And if we have a look at it here, slide it off, it is very, very thin. And it has like a carbon, you can see the sparkles happening there. It's got like a carbon infusion in this tapper tree from Japan that these mats are made out of. And so it's very, very thin, as you can see, and it is absolutely a lovely thing, and has made a nice audible difference to my vinyl playback. So on the turntable, we've got the 4.11 with the adjustable VTA tower from Frank Kuzma, and on that I also have the damping, the oil baths, both the if you look here, the vertical there, damping bath, and the horizontal damping bath, the oil damping bath there, set up on this turntable and with this tone arm. And obviously if we can get the weight for the tracking force as close to the pivot point on the arm, the better. And you can see that I'm doing every bit of what I can to make that happen. And there are a series of different weights, some are down here actually, that you can put on here to adjust how much weight you need for the particular cartridge you're using. At the moment, I currently have the Lyra Etna SL low voltage output cartridge on one of the head shells here, and on the other head shell down here, let's pull that out. I have the Kuzma Car 50, and that's a silver coils, silver wire, beautiful cartridge, and that is the second cartridge that is available to me at the moment. To quite easily, I can bolt that straight in by going through the Allen key there and pulling the pins out, and I can remove the head shell, and then in its place this head shell sort of locks in there, and I'll just have to adjust the tracking force, and we're up and playing music again. So that is the Kuzma deck. Amazing turntable. You know, this is all solid billet aluminium block. It's got a DC, the same DC motor that is in all the models above this one, the M and the XL, and it also has the ruby bearing assembly in the on the platter as well. Pretty heavy turntable. It's about 45 kilos or thereabouts, I think, maybe a bit more than that. So down from that, we have the Theria by RCM, and this is their phono preamplifier. Up over there is its power supply, so it has a separate power supply up there with an umbilical cord, and all of these components on my whole system all have stack audio over EQs underneath everything you see here. There is nothing in this system that doesn't have that, only a couple of things which I'm testing at the moment, and we'll talk about those in a future video, but you'll see them in a minute. So again, you can see the RCM is sitting on stack over EQs, 3 of them under there. I have 3 on the turntable. You can see underneath that sort of big disc area underneath there, well, that's the base of the motor. This thing has a huge DC motor in it that's internally positioned in the billet block, which is quite a stunning bit of engineering from Frank Kuzma. Beautiful thing. Now, next thing down there, and this is an oldie, but it certainly is a stunning power amplifier. This is the Rotel Michi, and it is the bigger of the two of their power amplifiers, and I am using one channel of that amplifier to drive the Wilson Watchdog Series 2 subwoofer over there. This amplifier is fairly heavily modified. It has Nichicon Gold caps that were replaced and put in it, which were of bigger capacity than the original 4 big caps that were in this amplifier. We literally crammed another 4 in there and got as much capacitance as we possibly could. And so we've upped the capacitance of this amplifier substantially by doing that. All the wire on the power side of this amplifier is pure 6/9 silver, and all of the signal wire on this amplifier is all 6Ns silver of a different gauge as well. It's also had some substantial upgrades done in the output stage of this amplifier as well, and it is a stunning amplifier. I've put this thing up against Krell amplifiers of the same age, and This just sounds more sweeter, it sounds more natural, it sounds more lively, it sounds more like what you'd want an amplifier to be providing you with amplification. So this is a stereo amplifier, it's a Class AB amplifier. So here is the owner's manual, which I still have for the Rotel Michi series. You know, like this stuff's just amazing to look back on the, you know, look at the this is the amplifier up here. This is the RHB10 that I have there, and you know, this is the series of the Michi products, the original early 90s Michi products, you know, and the quality of this stuff. Here is the information on the RHB10, and as far as its power rating goes, we can have a look over here, and you can see that it is, so it has a damping factor of 550, but it is substantially above that now with the modifications that I've done to it. You know, there's some of the information about this amplifier. So it is an impressive beast. It was an impressive beast back in the early 90s, and it is also a very impressive beast still. So 200 watts into 8 ohms, 330 watts into 4 ohms, and yeah, just an amazing amp. Probably far too good to be used as a subwoofer amplifier, but it's just the sort of things we do here on the channel. Okay, so let us move from the bottom down there with our Rotel Michi amplifier and move to the top. So up here, sitting on the Vitus preamplifier at the moment, is the Wilson Audio Watch controller. It is there, and this is an active subwoofer crossover that Wilson have designed to work with the this beast here, the Watchdog Series 2 subwoofer. So I have got this set up in such a way, you know, as you can see, there's probably not a lot of gain there at all in this room. I don't need it. I don't need it to make bass. Essentially, I need this to, because I'm controlling some, or a particular room mode in here around 84 hertz, which is where this room resonates. It's its resonating frequency, and it's where you, without this subwoofer or without the acoustic treatment in this room that we'll talk about later on in this video, you get a bloom, a big sort of fat bassy bloom, which I was experiencing in here when I first set this room up, and then we went through the process of going through everything and dealing with that 80 hertz bloom or boom, whatever you like to call it. So let's walk through the settings on this thing so you can see what I'm doing. So I have, this is the equalizer which I have in, as you can see here. Now, you can see also that these little lines designate where we are. There's 20 hertz there. So basically what I'm doing is around 41 or 2 hertz. I'm boosting. Now I have the Q factor is on this is way down there at 0.2. So I'm really focused in on that 42 hertz signal, and I'm boosting it by about 5 dB, as you can see somewhere there, roughly on this one here. It's sitting about there. So 0 is the top and 10 dB boost is there. So I'm about halfway. And you know, as you can see, the overall gain here is, you know, around about the 9 o'clock, I guess, on the dial would be fair to say. And 7 o'clock is dead, you know, turned right out. So I'm boosting that frequency in this system, which has been a relatively recent retweak of this subwoofer controller, because it seems to have integrated the lower octave into the presentation all that more better than where I had it before. So it's been quite impressive actually to have a little bit of a fiddle there. And of course the next thing along is phase angle. And in this situation, I have the phase set at 45 degrees. And that is perfect integration in the seated position of the subwoofer. I'm running a 12 dB slope here, as you can see. So low pass is in. You can see that light's lit up there. And there's nothing happening on the high pass, so I'm just not using it at all. So, and we actually are using single-ended, as you can see there. And if we pop up along the back here and have a look, you can see the Mitchie only handles single-ended. It has two single-ended inputs. So the output here goes down and into the input of the amplifier, and the stereo that come into the crossover come off the preamplifier here, which is the next thing we're going to look at. So it is the Vitus SL101. So it is the matching preamplifier for the monos here. And you're able to write bits and pieces in here on the screen, and there's MPD8, because we'll be talking about that very, very soon. Now again, you can see that I'm running stack audio over EQs under everything here, including the preamplifier. You can see them there, 3 of them. And that's the case, as I said before, throughout this whole system. And the preamplifier from Vitus is a lovely thing. It has a remote control, which I think is sitting over there. You can see it on the ground. And it's actually not working at the moment. So a little update there. I've got to send that away and get that organised. I'm not sure what's gone wrong with it, but it's not working. So I'm having to get up out of my chair, which luckily isn't too far away from this, and manually turn the volume up and down here. As you can see, there's volume up and volume down there, and mute in the middle. And over this side we have the input selector, which we can sort of run through here, and you've got the Kuzma R there, and then there's another turntable input. I've got another one of those on there, and a phono input as well. They're all disabled, but there's only literally 2 inputs working on this thing, the MPD8 and the Kuzma R input. The others that are in there, you're able to disable anything you're not using. So if we move down, we get into the Playback Designs products now. So this is the MPT8. Now the MPT8, well, this particular version of the MPT8 doesn't exist anymore. This is the this unit has a 2 terabyte server installed in it from Playback Designs, and it's a Rune core as well. So I stream everything into this Rune core, and we'll talk about the products behind this product as we move toward the back of the system. And so this thing is a CD transport, and a very, very nice one at that. And it also is the digital brain, the streaming brain, and the server brain of my system. And if we go down to the next stage, we see the MPD8. So this is the DAC in the system, my beloved MPD8. And again, as you can see, there are 3 stack audio over EQs underneath this component, and also underneath the DAC there. I actually had a position move on these, though I had them more on the outside of the unit, sort of over on the outside of the initial feet there. I moved them on the inside, and I actually think I improved things a little further by doing that, as silly as that does sound. There just seemed to be a bit more stability in the presentation by just moving the feet So it just goes to show you in this hobby, there are lots of things you can fiddle with if you really want to get into the, the weeds with things. So there is the MPD8 from Playback Designs. And then from there, we'll be talking a little bit about this little baby very shortly from Margulis Audio. This is Julian's anti-resonance record weight for the turntable, and I've been reviewing that and going through my thoughts on that, and that'll be coming up shortly in another video. So if we head over here to the power side of things, my power filtration system is the Plexar 3000. So what this machine does is essentially it provides a balanced power conditioner. So it is providing balanced power output that is heading off to all of my components. We'll talk about power cables and stuff in a separate part of this video. So if we move over here, this is more of the digital components that are now staying in my system. So I have the Muron Pro over there from Network Acoustics, which is their flagship Ethernet filter. Next to it, I have the Tempus Ethernet switch from Network Acoustics, and right there is its power supply. Now all of these things are sitting on some magnetic isolators from a company called Bagnets. You can see them there. They're a wooden arrangement, and they have a couple of different weight configurations. These are the lighter of the two. The other ones, I'm waiting for them to turn up here so I can have a listen to those and put them under some other components. But there are another set that are black in colour that are heavier, able to cope with more weight than what these ones can. So these are underneath all of the digital Network Acoustics digital components at the moment. There's 2 underneath the Muron Pro. There's 3 here, and there's 3 there. So even under the Kojo grounding blocks, I've got the Crystal League grounding blocks from Kojo Technologies. I've got Stack Audio Orver EQs under those as well. So the cabling that on the Ethernet side is all, this stuff is like, garden hose material. It is super ultra high quality cabling from Network Acoustics, who provide that cabling with their Ethernet filtration, and it's all pretty impressive stuff. So much so that it is now my reference on the streaming side. So that probably pretty much describes the system itself, the components in the system. We'll talk about cabling and room acoustics in the next part of this video. And well, obviously we better have another quick look at this. Some people call this my bar fridge. This is 120 kilos of what feels like concrete. Have a look at that driver, folks. It's a 12-inch driver, and I can assure you this thing is very robust. Very strong subwoofer from Wilson Audio. So it is also sitting on Orver 100s from Stack Audio. And again, that has made an amazing difference to my suspended timber floors that I have here. So that is it as far as components go in this room. There's a couple of other things that I will talk about very shortly that you cannot see, that are down the other end of the house, that are attached to this switch. And I'm looking at a particular component at the moment which I can't talk about yet, but that will be that's coming up for review as well. I can also let you know that I am about to receive this week, coming from Network Acoustics, their Origin power supply. So we're going to be putting that through its paces. I can break that now on the channel as well. Talk to you guys about that. That is also going to be here in the room for us to have a listen to on the channel. So I'll give you a bit of a pan around this room. So, you know, this is the longer wall, and this wall is just under 5 meters wide. And then we have the shorter wall here. And you can see the couch sitting there, my tablet over there with a, I'm listening to a bit of Niles Fromm at the moment. Love that guy. And yeah, that's the seated position, the window in behind there with the drapes that are open at the moment and generally always open. I've got some regular rotation CD media in here that I listen to a fair bit. I call that little record stack bit there Trav's Corner, because my good mate Travis brings me over some records and I keep them separate from my regular rotation of records, which are over here. So that gives you a bit of an idea of what's going on there. And so next thing we should be talking about now, I guess, are what I've done with the bass trapping in this room. So I have 4 diaphragmatic bass traps that are sitting here in the corners. One there, one over here, and then without making you too dizzy, there's another one in there behind the speaker, and a further one over there, those grey lower ones you can see. Now I have some absorption sitting above them on all 4, so this is very symmetrical, very much the same, with some foam blocks right up in the very corner where the 3 corners of the room meet, where most of the bass propagation happens in a room like this. Again, as you can see, it's literally happening everywhere around the room. That foam blocking is in all of the 4 corners with the absorption above. And there's an air gap in behind these to the corner of the wall. And that's all, again, done for a reason. It all works to trap low frequencies and control them in the room for us. So what you can see here is absorption, and this absorption is at first points of reflection from the mid-range and the tweeter. And the same thing applies in exactly the same position here. That is absorption for first points of reflection before that comes back to me here. There's some more acoustic foam diffusion up here on the wall, and it was just a matter of pinning that and trialing an error, and I found that that was the best spot for it. So I've replicated the identical thing over there in that corner, as you can see. Now I've got a space heater there, which I've put an absorbing panel in front of, because I don't want, at relatively high sound pressure levels in here, the glass on the front of that gas space heater would start to ring and resonate, and we didn't want that. So I even went to the trouble, I'll show you this, of taping everything up with masking tape so that you cannot hear that resonating at all. So the lengths we go to here as audiophiles, eh? So yes, there's the couch again. And then now where I've spent most of the time getting this room right, and I think this is the main reason why this room defies itself with its size, is that the white blanket you can see there is draped right over the television and down the back side of it. And pinned to that cloth are the same acoustic foam diffusion panels, and I've scattered them, as you can see, to break up any standing waves that are happening between the speakers. Now there are another 2 smaller diaphragmatic bass traps that are around about 30 centimeters or a foot off the wall, the front wall, there and there. And then some very thick foam blocks, and you can get a bit of an idea. These are probably 6 inches thick, those blocks, and they sit on top there. And you can see that there's two of those two, one there and another one over there. And all around the wall above here are again in a scattered pattern, diffusion, foam diffusion. And that's all, as you can see, probably around about a metre, at least, probably nearly a metre and a half off where the front baffle of the speakers are. And that is essentially the way I've set this room up to get just the right sound in here. It was a lot of trial and error and a lot of moving things around to try and get that sound signature the way I wanted it. And again, sitting down in the seated position, that's essentially what you guys see when I pan around on the shorts. We're shooting this on widescreen for the main video, but that is the acoustic treatment in its entirety that is in this room. And the next thing I think we'll talk about are the cables. Okay, so let's talk about cables, something I haven't spoken about very much on my channel in relation to power cables anyway. So the plugs that I'm using on more or less all of my power cables are all from a company called NRG. Now, this company comes out of Canada. You might be able to see the maple leaf there. Charles will be proud to see this. And these are all, metal connectors or metal bodies. The contacts that go into all of the connectors are all pure copper. So they're extremely soft. They bend really easily. And but they are 6/9 copper. They're all extremely high quality plugs. So what is worth mentioning here on the Plexar 3000 power conditioner is that all of the receptacles on the back of this were upgraded to 8 Furatech inlets in the back of them. So I had the upgrade done for the Plexar 3000 and optioned it with the Furatech ends. So the cable that I'm using, is these are all made up for me, is a cable by a company called Sonic Art here in Australia. Now this black cable here that you can see is their Evolution AC cable, and it is a pure copper, 6 ends pure copper conductor, all in PTFE internal insulation and external insulation. It is silver plated, and it is a military spec cable by that company. So made. I might even actually say here, you can probably see it written there. Mil spec silver. And it is just a stunning cable that is no longer available. Cannot be got anymore. That's why I haven't got it on the power cable to the turntable here. And there's another power cable that I'm running in the back here that powers the power supply for the switch. I just can't get any more of that cable. If I can find it anywhere, I will replace the cables with these two outstanding cables with that stuff, because it is just amazing. It's an amazing cable. Now, further to that, what I have out of the monoblocks are a cable that is made, it's the Diamond series cable made by Robinson Cables. Now, all of my interconnect loom is all Robinson. It is all their Elite series cables, and you can see it all in the back of the preamplifier there. There are XLR cables, there are RCA cables, all the back of all the power into these units are all the NRG plugs. And but all of the as you can see from the back there, all of the interconnects in this system are all Robinson Elite series. Now that is a pure silver cable, high purity silver cable in Teflon tubes, and all using super high quality RCA and XLRNs. So that is essentially the loom. I've got some Sonic Art pure silver grounding wires coming off some of the other components in the back of the system here as well. And I find those to be very good as well. And that's an Australian company, Sonic Art. And he does some pretty great cables in there as well. So I have some of his cables, I have his grounding cables in the system here. That's, I think, all I'm using at this stage. And Warwick from Robinson Cables in Brisbane, you can see his website as well. He provides me with all of my loom, which are his top of the range Elite series. So that pretty much talks to you all about what's going on. The only other component that I didn't talk about, which I can't show you at the moment, which is down in the back of the house, and that is the Eno 2 from Network Acoustics. It's another passive Ethernet filter, and that is plugged in just out of the router down in the back of the house. Now I'll show you the component that I'm keeping under wraps down there at the moment, which has made a substantial improvement to the system. It's also going to probably come up against another component that's coming here shortly. So I want to do a A/B comparison, and I'll talk to you about both of those components in a video coming up soon. But there you go, folks. That's the system in its entirety. That, I guess, explains what I've done here in the room acoustically. It also shows you all of the components there that are in the system now, and that are my current reference system. If you've got any questions, please leave them in the comments below the video, and I'll get to them and answer them all for you as I can, as time permits. But I hope you enjoyed this video, everyone. It is my second birthday and my third system walkthrough. So that's the current system in its entirety, everything that's in here. And thanks very much for watching. There'll be some review videos coming up very soon with the Margulis anti-resonator and the other components that are in the system that you can't see at the moment, that I'll be talking about soon. So stay tuned for those, because those videos are coming up very soon. So until we talk again, everybody, it's bye for now.